think that series where he left out, it took us a minute, Don, to be honest, to kind of stabilize things a little bit. We got that touchdown that Deuce scored on the edge. Rico obviously was really good at getting us into the right check. Rico was maybe one of the smartest football players I've ever coached, and for sure he's one of the smartest linebackers I've ever coached. And he gets us into the right front and coverage adjustments a lot, and so many of the other guys just tend to let him do it because he just does it all the time, and he's so vocal and he's just so confident in how he does it. We didn't get lined up right, and we let Deuce get on the perimeter. We get out there. That's the one where Morgenstern got pinned inside, and it got to the perimeter, and they scored. But I thought after that, we settled in there and settled down and really, much like last week, held them to 3 points there in the third quarter. But that's just part of the game, anymore. You can lose guys for, with the targeting rules and the hitting above. It's really, it just is what it is. But we lost him. We got to adjust, and we got to do it quicker. And that was one of the things that we discussed in our staff meeting earlier today, is just making and forcing other guys to be able to step up and communicate and make sure that we do get deployed correctly. But I felt like once we got our feet back on the ground in the second half there, after coming out, making some just simple adjustments at halftime, I thought we stabilized things fairly well.
The man has talked about the play where you get a 70-yard touchdown there at the end. Instead, I think they'll need to sell out, I guess, to blitz. Yeah. It's just a matter of one guy couldn't get him on the ground, and then was off to the races.
Yeah. It's one of those days. It's really strange because we've worked that situation here for the last couple of weeks. It really happened, Don, against TCU a year ago. It was a 3rd down and 2 in that situation. So we had discussed what we need to do is, even if we allow them to score in that situation, they score. We're still only down 2 scores in the TCU game at that particular point. So we might as well just, hey, let's go try to make a play, and if they score, now our offense has a chance. Go score. Now your chances of winning, but they're still. If they get that first down, TCU, they did exactly what they did. They just took 3 knees. The game was over. So we had talked about and discussed that situation and practiced it. And I'm going to be honest with you. We put Jacob Morgenstern. He's in a bad situation. He's 6'4", 220 pounds. They were smart. They emptied the backfield. Should have been a nickel personnel, had nickel out there to, at least if they emptied out, give us a chance. And, and it just is just a tough deal. And you bring up a, 70-yard play there. And I think 2 out of the last 10 plays of the game, we gave up 136 yards, on the naked. We didn't make the tackle on the sideline, 66-yard play. And I think at that point they had 17 points and probably around 260 yards of offense, and you give up 136 yards, on those 2 plays. And that's what I hate for the kids, because they just played so well played a lot more consistent in the second half. It's the first style of offense that we've really seen that, where it's 2 backs, multiple tight ends, and just smash mouth, hey, we're going to try to bloody your nose. And I thought our kids really tightened up the run fits in the second half, and we really adjusted well.
Go to Eric Kelly.
Hey, Coach, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's just another week, another good, talented quarterback who can beat you on the ground and through the air. Brock Purdy, what are his traits that stand out?
Yeah, I think he's a heady, guy that's in command of what they do offensively. He's got big weapons. He's got 3 tight ends that range anywhere from 6'6" to 6'7", and they're big targets, and they've got a scheme that really fits what Brock does and what he really brings to the table. And, it's kind of small world. Brock, I lived right next to, not next door, but in same neck of the woods in Arizona next to Brock. I tried to get him to walk on at Arizona State, so obviously I can't evaluate quarterbacks. But he's a good kid and has great command of that offense.
Charlie Kolar was one who had success against you guys last year. When a dude's just that big, how do you try to, I guess, neutralize size like that?
I think this year we'll put bigger guys on him. I think we match up a little bit better than what we did a year ago. I think. So, it isn't just Kolar. I mean, to me, what's the biggest difference in their team this year? Two different people. It's Brees Hall, the running back. He's bigger, about 20, 25 pounds. I mean, he doesn't even look like the same guy. And then to me, Chase Allen, number 11, he seems to like he's become the primary target to me. But I do like Kolar. I do like Allen. And then, then they got that offensive tackle playing tight end, Big Schoner. He's got great. I mean, he's 272 pounds. He's 6'7", and has great hands. Heck, he threw a dadgum pass to Chase Allen the other night. I mean, on the double pass. So, all three of those guys are matchup issues that you have to be aware of. And then, all while doing that, they got big wide receivers, and then they got, I really believe, I think Brees Hall's one of the best running backs in this league.
Obviously, you prepare for, this is more last week, but you prepare for Skyler all week, then he gets hurt and a new quarterback comes in. Your defense obviously doesn't change, but is there anything you tell the guys in the huddle when you know you're going to face a freshman who hasn't really faced this type of pressure before?
No, not really. I mean, we just stayed with the game plan, because really, even with Skyler was different than what he was a year ago. I mean, they were trying to, they really target, the big tight end, Zero. They really targeted, I thought we did a good job staying over the top of number 13. And then we knew, we saw against Oklahoma what Deuce was capable of, and we knew he was going to be a matchup problem. And we, 65 out of 66 plays, I thought for the most part, we built our scheme to where we could never get him isolated on a running back. on a linebacker. And then it just happened to be the very last, touchdown that they scored where they got the matchup that they needed.
Go back to Don.
Keith, I can't let your mention of Brock Purdy pass without you elaborating a little bit on that story. You tried to get him to
Yeah, I recruited Perry High School. I quit recruiting quarterbacks, Don, when I tried to get Sam Bradford offered at the University of Tulsa, and I'm not going to mention any people's names or anything, but I couldn't get him approved, and I'd already talked to the basketball coach about, good grief, I let him play basketball, and if he wants to join the golf team, he could have done that too. He's probably about a 2 handicap, and I quit recruiting quarterbacks after that. I was like going, man, if I can't get this guy an offer at the University of Tulsa, then I'm going to quit recruiting quarterbacks. And so anyway, Brock, he had come over to a junior day, and I just liked the kid. His high school coach just kept telling me, this guy is a player, and I said, yeah, he is a player, but he's 5'10", and I took him to the table, and they said, hey, you can offer him a chance to walk on. And at that time, he had no offers, none. And I think it went all the way into January. And, here I am. I mean, I'm sitting there trying to, and then I think somebody like Alabama offered him. It was something unbelievable. And then all of a sudden, everybody starts offering him, and I'm sitting there trying to get him to come to Arizona State, three blocks up the street, trying to walk on. I mean, I felt kind of stupid, but hindsight, I mean, you look at it, I mean, that was just a great job of evaluating by Iowa State. I knew, I watched this young man. I mean, I watched him play live a couple of times. I watched him in practice. I knew what he was. I mean, that he was just undersized for the quarterback position, everyone thought. but man, he is a great fit at Iowa State. He's very, very impressive in what he's done there, and he is just you can't he never seems to get flattered. I mean, or just scattered or out of control. He's just under control, avoids pressure. He just has really been very impressive.
So once Alabama and Iowa State and other schools got on him, do you remember any discussion about whether, hey, maybe we should give him a scholarship, or were y'all in a situation where you maybe already had?
Yeah. That's such a unique position in recruiting anymore. I think we had already had at that particular time the guy that we were going after, and that most people just take one quarterback now. So it was a deal to where, again, I just kind of let it go once he started getting those offers, and I'm not going to say it came as a surprise, but once Alabama threw it out there, I mean, it just took off, and you know what? Good for him. I mean, that everything works out for a reason, and it sure did for Brock.
Go to Bill Mayer.
Hey, Coach, who are some defensive side of the ball that have shown a little more exceeded your expectations?
I would have to start with Jacob Morgenstern. I mean, other than the one play where he got sealed inside, he made the play where we make a second down stop down there, and he goes to swipe the guy's arm, and as he did, he grabs the guy's face mask when he's chopping the guy's arm off of him, but made an unbelievable play on that situation right there. He's been in 2 weeks, the Texas game, and even this game, he's been very, very consistent. Obviously, I thought Rico looked like he was going to be off to another good start against Kansas State, and that before being disqualified. I think up front, I really like what I see from guys like Ty Wilson is getting better and better. Getting to practice and things like that. I think he's going to be a force to be reckoned with before the season's over. I like Jay Hutch is doing some good things, But I would say, honestly, I thought Zach McPherson had his best game, challenged him last week to continue to try to get better and improve, and I was proud of his performance. So, there's a lot of guys at times that have done some really, really good things, but I mean, when it just comes as a surprise, kind of, I would have to say Jacob Morgenstern's been the most pleasant surprise.
Okay, and then you mentioned Rico a little bit, but with Jordan out of the mix this year, and we saw him, the telecast showed him after he was ejected, talking to some guys on the sideline. What have you seen from him from a leadership perspective?
Yeah, it's been unbelievable, the transformation I've seen from Rico. We had a great discussion probably about 3 weeks ago, and man, I mean to tell you, he has become he's exceeded my expectations in that regard. He has just become. Because he's so much more vocal than a guy like Jordan, where Jordan's, he let his actions speak for itself. Rico plays the game very hard, and he's smart. And now he is doing an incredible job of keeping our guys poised no matter what the situation in the Texas game. He was unflappable. I mean, he just stayed in the huddle and, man, kept pulling guys together. Stayed the course. He was sitting there, encouraging guys the other day to, hey, just keep playing the next play, keep your head up, and something good is going to happen. He was an incredible on the sideline Saturday.
Go to David Collier.
Coach, you mentioned having bigger guys to defend the tight ends. What do you feel like you guys can do better against Hall this time around?
Yeah, Hall really just got us on the speed option last year, and we were in position. We just, I think at 190 pounds, I think he kind of shocked. He got onto one of our defensive backs, tried to tackle him up, high, and he just shucked him on that one play going back to the north. I think you got to gang tackle a guy like that if you're in a lot of one-on-ones with him. He's really deceptively he's kind of a very patient runner where he'll start, stop, and then restart. For a guy that size, it's pretty impressive. we have to create population to the ball carrier, keep him from just getting into a bunch of one-on-one type tackles, and eliminate those explosive plays that you saw. Like again, I mean, he took one a big long run, obviously running through tackles against Oklahoma the other night, and shows you what he's capable of doing.
All right, we'll go to Carlos and then Don to finish.
Hey, Coach, not sure if anyone asked, but DeMarcus got his first play this last weekend. I guess, what did you see from him, and can you kind of see him staying there, or do you kind of see him kind of moving around and kind of doing some cross-training still?
He just gives us a physical presence on the edge of our defense at corner that we really haven't had. I like that. If we can continue to bring along Hillman, Zach, I think they can really develop into a really good pair of corners, obviously. And then, the consistent performance of Morgenstern has allowed us to do that. He has just played so consistently, and just brings a toughness. I mean, he was able to match up with that tight end, and I mean, the guy trying to block him, he could cover the guy. It's very seldom where you got a 6'4", 220-pound outside guy that can match up with tight ends. You can't block him. He's hard to block. And he can also cover you man-to-man. That really makes us a lot more durable versus the run, and helps us with those matchup problems that we faced last year against these guys.
Go ahead, Don.
Keith, Matt, as Dowdy has confirmed that Nelson Mbanasour is out for the season. I guess he's checked that with Matt Wells. So
Yeah.
just safe to talk about now. You at least have Eli and Tyree at that position.
Yeah.
So you have people that you're confident in at that
Yeah.
position, but it's an unfortunate thing for Nelson. Is
Yeah.
that kind of situation?
Yeah, again, it's just part of the game of football, and you got to get people to step up. I'm really excited to see and continue to watch the growth of Philip Belidi, who's got to back up. Like you said, Ty, it just forces him in there to just, he's going to have to play more snaps than what he's maybe ready to do right now. But we're taking it as an opportunity to grow both those young guys. Man, they're young. They got a lot of football in front of them, so we're going to throw them in there and let them grow up right in front of our eyes. So I like that. Obviously Eli and Bradford, and then we have Devin Drew is a guy that we need to continue to bring along and develop. And then hopefully we'll be getting Gilbert Benamy back here sometime soon. But I still feel good about our depth. It's just a little bit inexperienced, but it's talent is not going to be the issue. It's just the inexperienced play behind Eli and Tony.
There's a lot of similarities within the system, but definitely you lean on what you kind of feel that Henry feels most comfortable with, that he's been more successful with. From our practice evaluations and those types of things, he's different in some ways as far as getting through progressions and then he kind of has a little bit more escapability, which he'll use that a little bit more than what Allen normally does in that way. So you don't really design plays for that or think of it, but you kind of have that as he's going to get himself out of some trouble with his feet, more so with just his arm, or in that way that Allen kind of does most of the time. So there's some differences that way, and then you lean on what they're kind of most accomplished at, talk to them throughout. We talk all week about it, and then before a drive, I kind of go through what plays we're thinking about. You feel good with this, you feel good with that. Most of the time it's yep. Every now and then it's like, and if they go anything like that, then it's okay, we're not calling that. Because that's the first thing he's going to think of when we call it is like, I don't know if I like this. Well, your chance of that being successful isn't as good. So there were some things that kind of slid off the plate a little bit, and there's some things that probably slid up the plate a little bit in that way.
You guys, as an offensive line, are a unit that has done a really good job of protecting the quarterback so far this year. Going up against an Iowa State D-line that's top 10 in sacks, what impresses you about what they have up front?
Well, they got, the one guy back who missed last year on the one edge, and he's a good player. Getting ready for the game last year, I don't know if we knew exactly he was out when we were getting into that game. It was still kind of up in the air. But he's a talented guy. 2 years ago, he wreaked havoc in the league, and then the other guy is enormous. He's big. He's gotten bigger. We thought he was really big and strong last year, and I think he's 25 pounds heavier now. They had added another number to his jersey just to cover it up a little bit, but no, really, really strong there. They lost one of the best nose guards in the league, and you don't see a big kind of drop off in what they're getting from their nose guard position, and they're playing multiple guys there. But they lost a really good player in Lima last year. And they've kind of been able to replace that with some real good experience. You got redshirt seniors there that are able to kind of come in and play, so they're really strong that way. And then structurally what they do it very, very well. They consistently are kind of putting their guys in position to be successful with 5 techniques, the nose guard there, and then how their backers play. So downhill they get a lot of one-on-one blocking what they get you into, which gives them a chance to defeat their man and make a play, and they've done that at a pretty high rate.
Go to Don Williams.
David, a lot of people are interested in Maverick McIver and what he needs to do to get himself into the picture for more playing time. And from an outsider's perspective, are people discounting that Henry has played in 14 college games so far, and Maverick has played in 0 college games? There's a significant experience difference between those two guys. Is that correct?
Yes, there's that, and then just through the kind of competition of fall camp, and it wasn't as extensive as what a normal fall camp would be because of the lack of really scrimmage and live reps and everything, which in the big picture of things probably affected Maverick more than Henry, because Henry's had multiple spring balls, multiple fall camps before, and I know it was at Utah State, but I was there for one of his spring balls and 2 of his fall camps. So he's been within our system and kind of has been coached to kind of execute plays in the way that we want him executed and all that. And I think that kind of gave him the lead as we finished up camp on who, and really it came down to is like if something happened to Allen like it did the other day, who's going to give us the best chance to go in and consistently move the offense, make plays, and put us in a position to win. And just through our evaluation, my evaluation, and that we thought it was Henry, and that's where we went. Which in hindsight, Henry put us in a position we had a chance. We took the lead in the fourth quarter. We're not able to kind of get it back after they kind of answered our last touchdown, which was disappointing. But Maverick's consistency, doing it over and over again, being able to execute play after play after play. You saw the other day, I think we had a 19-play drive and a 14-play drive, which there's a lot that falls into just really not messing something up along the way, because then you get yourself off schedule, and next thing you know, it's in a 3rd and long, and then all of a sudden, next thing you're doing is punting. So being able to kind of consistently move the football, put the ball in position where it's successful, and also fix the mistakes that happen sometimes.
It appeared that Henry, coming out of last season with Jordan Love leaving, Henry was in position to possibly be the starting quarterback at Utah State this year. What did you think then when he decided to transfer here, where clearly you had a returning starting quarterback, so his playing time was not guaranteed?
Well, I think it was just a matter of his opportunity at Utah State. He felt like this was a better opportunity for him to showcase his skills, fit in, and be able to compete for playing time as things went. We explained it to him when he after he got in the portal about we have a returning starter that we think's a really talented kid that can really do it. Now, there is a history of missing some games with injuries, which we never look for that or talk about that but it's known in that way. So I think quarterbacks, as you're looking around, that's you're one snap away if you can become the number 2 guy in that. And then I think they had taken a grad transfer just before Henry went into the portal and through his conversation with them, he felt the best opportunity was going to be elsewhere, and multiple schools reached out to him. I know that, and and we talked to him, and he felt comfortable here and felt like this would be a good opportunity for him. And we're really glad and happy that he chose us, because he gave us a chance on Saturday. And as we move forward, we know we got a guy there, and I think he kind of impressed his teammates. We got a guy that can lead us to a victory when given the opportunity.
Go to David Collier.
Coach, is it something that we could assume that Xavier might get more carries moving forward, or is it something Kansas State was giving you guys, or was it just the hot hand against them?
It kind of became the hot hand in the second half, and that Coach Smith does a great job with kind of evaluating our backs as the game goes on and trying to get the right guy in a position to be successful. Going back to the first game, Taj was the primary number 2, and then we planned to get Chad in the game in that first game, and we did, and then he kind of got some things going, so we leaned on him a little bit there at the end of the game, more so than at the beginning. Same thing happened this week. Roderick was playing well, but our plan was Xavier White was kind of his primary backup, got in and made a couple plays, hit some things, even in the first half, got some good runs and everything, got through the line, was kind of seeing it right, kind of what we've seen in practice. Had not really shown up in a game yet, just really in the one game against Texas, kind of, I don't know if he was a little nervous or lad, he just seemed a little, everything was a little fast for him. He was going a little fast, and then seemed to slow down the other day and did a nice job. And that's what we think. He's a dynamic player with the ball in his hands and that. And he still had some opportunities a couple times, and he'll probably be the first guy to tell you that he missed a few cuts or a few make you miss opportunities that we think he's going to make those.
And in the tight end position, it seemed like it was a little more effective this time around with Henry. Is that more Henry being comfortable with those guys in particular, or were you guys given something against Kansas State that he was able to find those guys up?
Well, we hit a naked to him early on. The second, I think third play of the game, we tried to get the ball to Kuntz one time. We weren't able to connect on that on a quick game. It just kind of, and really the reason we went to that was because that was the look the defense gave us, and we happened to be on the left hash. If we'd have been on the right hash, that ball would have went to the H. Just with how they were aligned. But no, Travis is a talented guy. We want to get him more involved in the passing game. We've been working on that, trying to make sure those opportunities come up. He had 3 catches the other day, and then he had really, I think, 2 or 3 other times he was targeted, which we feel that's the possibility of what our tight ends can do. And then Holcomb got his first catch, which was good, and we had another one where we tried to throw to him that we just missed, kind of threw behind him on a slant route on a third down in that way. But no, that's a position you'd like to see come out of a game with 4 to 5 to 6 catches from the position, and we have the ability to do that.
Go to Eric Kelly, then we'll finish with Don.
Which obviously, if Allen misses practice, then Henry will get more reps. If Allen is able to go through practice, just knowing that injury is even out there, do you redistribute reps a little bit more to give Henry some more of those ones, or is it just business as usual if Allen's able to practice?
Well, it's dependent on how, if Allen's able to practice, how is he able to practice? Is he limited at all? Is it a situation working with the trainers? Is it something we need to do to make sure Henry's getting more reps than normal? We normally are on a kind of a 2/3, 1/3 rotation is kind of how we do it with the 1 and 2 quarterback throughout practice. So, could he get closer to 50-50 this week? It's very possible that way, but a lot depends on how Allen kind of goes through treatment, how he responds to the kind of what they're working on, the rehab that they're doing in the training room. He's working hard to get back as quick as he can and everything, and we're kind of see how that kind of goes throughout the week.
Finishes up, Don.
David, last year against Iowa State, they seemed like they bailed a lot on the outside, gave you all those nows and bubbles, and it looked like played that kind of robber safety in the middle, 7 to 8 yards from the line of scrimmage, and took away that area. Are you expecting them to kind of show you the same look this year?
Well, there's a lot of similarities. They haven't really changed their defense. Staff-wise, they're the same and that, but they've been a little bit different this year so far. In the early games, we have some good formational videos from the TCU game, also some from the Oklahoma. They played TCU a little different than they played us last year. in that way, but I think it was due to the fact of what we kind of do with our, like you talk about, our screens, our nows, those types of things. They played a lot of kind of a double cloud technique, kind of a cover two, to try to get the corners more involved in stopping that, which in the big picture of things probably worked the way they wanted it to. We were kind of efficient with our screens last year and nows, but weren't really ever to ever hit one or get one to really get out and go. It was kind of just, I mean, the 4 or 5 yard range most of the time. In that, which we're used to getting more than that, and we want to get more than that out of that. Whereas TCU, they were a little bit more of an kind of a version of cover three where they were inverting extra guys down that way. So we got to prepare for both and everything. I wouldn't be surprised if they double cloud us to try to slow down our screen game and that way. And with what we got to be able to do is what we were able to do last week. Same thing. I mean, Kansas State was really working to take away our screens. We were able to get it thrown a little bit more than I thought was going to happen in that game. But it gave us some really good run boxes to run the ball into, which resulted in opportunities for us to be able to kind of make some plays in the run game. And, I mean, I think 27 carries for about 167 yards in our run game handoffs the other day, which was about 6 yards a carry. And then if you add in I think we had 67 yards off of our screens or our RPO type stuff. I mean, our run game accounted for about 225 to 230 yards of offense for us, which really helped us and takes some of that pressure off the quarterback of just having to stand back there and drop back and throw it. I mean, you still got to be able to throw the screens and make those reads, but it's different. It kind of cuts the field in half.
And following up on the run game, going back and watching the game again the other night, Xavier got all the yards, got a bunch of those yards, but it seemed like y'all blocked that up really well because like the 49-yard touchdown looked to me like virtually everybody on the offensive line had a body on a body and really opened a big hole for them.
Oh yeah, they did and they brought pressure on that one, and our guys picked it up well. Kuntz really made a tremendous block as he came across on the kind of the split zone thing, found the backer and was able to kind of square him up, get him blocked, and kind of got Xavier free to the safety. And then Xavier made one guy miss and was able to take off. And then he had some really nice runs where he kind of slid up inside, but there was space inside there. We were able to kind of cut through the defense a little bit better than we had in the first couple games, which that's what we've been working on. That's what we've been talking about. Our run game is better than what we were kind of getting in those first 2 games. It was more of what we kind of expect last week, and we got to continue that, and that'll be a continuing process. We got to keep getting better. We still had a couple tackles for loss on the edges that we need to fix. Once they got a corner chop on us, they brought the corner blitz on the one play and kind of got us for a negative play, which that's on me for calling that. We got to make sure we have it designed up well and we're able to handle that better than what we did. And then, but for the most part, it was we blocked really well up front, kind of gave them chances. Didn't have a lot of guys running into the backfield to where I'd make guys miss. And I know he got a majority of the yards in that way. Efficiency-wise, really, Sir Roderick did really well, and especially in the short yardage stuff. We were 4 for 4 on 3rd and 1 and 2s. On the day, so that was really positive, and in that way, and we actually picked up some third downs on that kind of that 3rd and 3 to 6 range when we handed the ball off. So we were able to kind of maybe catch them a couple times or surprise them that we were running the ball in that situation as opposed to just throwing it all the time.